Logano, he's won with this race car. He knows how much it can take, how much he can push the issue. So patience is a unique word when it comes to racing, but the great ones have it.
That's right, they do have it, as we are on the forward in-car camera with Joey Logano. Watch what Joey Logano is doing. It is not by chance he has a car where he wants it to be. Much like a quarterback in football, he has a plan. He has to execute on it. He has to understand when to deaccelerate, where to put the car at the exact moment, when to reaccelerate to build that speed coming off the corner. People think about driving a race car as just drive it as hard as you can. That's not the way you drive a race car. You drive a race car with precision. You drive it with your brain. It is a game of tenths of a second, hundredths of a second. See how smooth Joey Logano is. A lot of what's going on right now in this race car is he's trying to understand, what does my car do well? What doesn't it do well? To communicate that with his team so that on that lap 25 or from your spotter, and as you moved around the racetrack, you would determine if what you did was better or not. Now you just simply look down at the dash and come to that conclusion. You do not have the times of your competitors. You only have your time, so you can only compare yourself to yourself. So when we heard that spotter giving times, it was in comparison to other cars.
Riding along with the Chevy onboard camera here of Chase Elliott as he is out front.
Junior's mind right now. Remember, in this spring race, he led 392 of the 400 laps. He dominated the race. He won last weekend. He stuck it back in 14th and has shown no signs of moving forward. So you have to wonder, is Panda going to start to set in? Or are they going to have to start making major changes? This is not the speed we've seen from this team so far in this chase. And as you talked about in the beginning of the race, Steve and Rick both, this race is hugely important because Talladega's looming.
And Jeff, they've been struggling with a race car that's extremely tight, and it just doesn't seem to be getting better. Cole Pearns made several changes on this race car. In fact, Martin told him a moment ago, it's gotten worse, if anything, struggling back there.
Perhaps he ran over something, but something to consider is with the lack of rubber on the racetrack, that makes it much more difficult for the tire to last throughout a full fuel run.
But now this team just has to understand the situation they're in. Currently 1 lap down. That's not going to take them out of this race at all. They just have to be efficient. They can't compound this with another mistake. They were able to get on and off pit road without penalty. And now Kyle Busch lead lap. So this accident with Joey Logano caused a caution right in the middle of the pit sequence. So that will shuffle up the field quite a bit.
And quite a few drivers we would expect to take the wave around also, that they had just been on pit road. So they will have the opportunity to get back on the lead lap, but they can't come to
in 5th spot. So he's close enough to the leaders. As the leader starts to lap people, he can lap those people too. It gives him the best chance to stay the first car 1 lap down.
Once again, you see from the Coca-Cola onboard, Denny Hamlin out front, but he will have a mirror full of the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
And this is really a great opportunity for both Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson. They really have run decent all day long, but they're in this situation because of that caution during the pit cycle. But what this allows them to do, much like Brad Keselowski back in 3rd, get a better understanding of their car. We always hear about how much traffic affects your handling, how dirty air affects your handling. When now these 3 cars are running in the top 5. Maybe their car wasn't as bad as they thought. Maybe it's worse. Now they can let yourself.
As we ride along with the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, the Coca-Cola in-car camera, he's paying attention to what is in front of him, but he knows that he has Jimmy Johnson behind. So he's mostly paying attention to what's in front of him so that he can have the best possible lap. But if you watch Denny Hamlin, right now he's completely focused on the racetrack. Not worried about the 48, but as he comes on the racetrack, watch his helmet. A little move. Now he looks at Jimmy Johnson. Now he says, okay, how did I do in that corner? Now he's back in the corner, completely focused on the corner, not worried about the 48 at all, trying to hit your marks, do everything right. As you get to the straightaway, a little glance right there. That's a little glance. And you're looking, gauging, did I have a good corner? Did I do what I need to do? Is the 48 beat me? But you only glance twice, once off of each corner. Other than that, you ignore what the 48 is doing.
Clean racetrack in front of Denny Hamlin after this restart, and so Hamlin has about a 0.3 of a second lead over Jimmy Johnson. Brad Keselowski, as you mentioned, the way the cautions have fallen, Keselowski has been able.
Green flag stops, got that free pass, came down pit road, took on 4 fresh tires, also made an adjustment, restarted 7th, now running 4th, so moving forward for Kevin Harvick in that 14. Meanwhile, Joey Logano is back in 19th, and somehow They stayed on the lead lap through all of that. When they came in, the left front was the issue for Logano and that race team. It was down. They were able to fix as much of that right side damage as they could. Steering wheel now tracking straight for Joey Logano. They kept him on the lead lap, but the car extremely tight. He said he is up 8.1 on the track bar. I think that's between 0 and 10. So that's a big adjustment trying to free that car up for Joey Logano. But I guess
they can't control when the caution comes out. As good as it was for the 34 of Chris Buescher, it hurt the 24 of Chase Elliott. It put him behind. Luckily, they were able to take the wave around. They're back on the lead lap. The race has really been reset. He just took over the 6th position. So now, it's really what I consider an impressive point of Chase Elliott, his maturity. He always acts like a veteran driver. That's what
can Chase Elliott carry speed off the corner, which is, you heard him have to get out of the throttle. He tried to go to the throttle and carry that momentum off the corner, but he just couldn't stay in it. And I agree. We heard Chad Canals talking about, telling Jimmy Johnson, hey, let's run the bottom of the racetrack. I agree with that strategy. I think that when you go somewhere and you have tire problems, you want to go and run where the most rubber is. Try to take it as easy on that tire as you can. So I like that strategy, but these guys battling for the lead, they're not going to be able to just follow each other around on the bottom of the racetrack. So you can see in the front of the line, 48 went to the top, so 11 went to the road. To ride along, you see, you can't see the cone yet. You don't know where it is. Right now, you can start to see it. So you see how loose he got, trying to get it slowed down. Barely made it underneath the cone. Charlotte, you want to run the bottom on new tires, on fresher tires, because that's where there's more grip. Who's going to be the first one to jump to the middle of the racetrack, to the outside, and try to make that work? You have to wonder if Chase Elliott, following the 78, will eventually try to do something different than the 78 is doing.
We saw that 24 of Chase Elliott get right up on the back bumper of Martin Truex Jr., but then fell back almost 3 or 4 car lengths.
Sometimes you actually overdrive your car a little bit, driving a little harder than it can stick, trying to get your front bumper right up against their rear bumper to take a major difference. Starting on the inside, with the inside being led by a guy with 2 tires that has not run very well all day, versus starting on the outside behind Jimmy Johnson.
Well, that is if the 48 decides to choose the outside line again. They have chosen